What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to TTB Ravens Media, bringing you Ravens content every single day. If you want to see that daily Ravens content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. Hit the notification bell as well if you want to get notified every single time I upload a brand new video. Now, if you saw the video yesterday, not going to go into all that, but hopefully you guys can notice. I think the camera should look a lot better. I'm working on a new software in addition to editing as well as recording to kind of produce those higher quality videos. That is my goal. So hopefully it looks better. I'm also going to be working on a different, layout, backdrop, wallpaper, whatever you want to call it. That's a little bit more updated, a little bit more modern, but I don't know exactly when that'll come out. So when it comes out, you guys will be able to see it. It's pretty noticeable right away. But in this video today, I'm talking about a player the Ravens just signed. That's Laquon Treadwell. But I'm also talking about the wide receiver position. And I assume Joshua and I will be talking about this on the podcast that we record this week. Is the battle at wide receiver. But I wanted to talk about it, kind of as soon as possible because John Harbaugh talked about it today and mentioned Laquon Treadwell and basically mentioned hey, this guy first off is picking up things very quickly, which you love to hear from a coach. But also he said he's going to be competing for a roster spot. And I think that, in my opinion, I felt made sense. I think a lot of people might have seen that signing, heard Laquon Treadwell and went, okay, bust. He's not going to make the team. But Laquon Treadwell has been playing football. This is not a player that has been out of the NFL the last few seasons. He played for Seattle Seahawks last year, caught 6 passes, 42 yards, played for Jacksonville the year before, actually put up his best career season with 434 receiving yards on 33 receptions, played for Atlanta before that, and obviously Minnesota. People know him the most for because that's where he was drafted in the first round. But oh well. Now he's on the Baltimore Ravens. He's going to be vying for a roster spot. If you don't know his game very well, he's kind of just a bigger body, more of a possession wide receiver. He's 6'2", 215 pounds, which, what have we been missing? What have myself, what have Ravens fans, what has Joshua, what have we all been talking about? Let's get ourselves a big body wide receiver, and I know we have some players in the building, but this is another one vying for that spot because we don't know exactly who's going to take over that job. We don't know who's going to have that role. So we're going to be able to find out, hey, can you go up and make those difficult catches? Can you run block? Can you do the things we need you to do? But this is a tough wide receiver room. I don't know if that's ever been said about the Baltimore Ravens wide receivers, but it's a tough wide receiver room. You look at top to bottom, this is a good wide receiver room. Obviously, you have Odell, Rashad Bateman, Zay Flowers. Those are obvious locks to make the team. I'll say Devin Duvernay is an obvious lock because of his special teams abilities. I think Nelson Aguilar is pretty much almost guaranteed a lock. I think he's very expected to make the team. That's 5 wide receivers right there. Recently, the Ravens have only kept 6. They've done 7 before. They've kept 7 receivers, and we're no longer in the Greg Roman offense. So, there's definitely potential to go out there and, bring in 7 wide receivers because we don't need 4 tight ends or we don't need multiple fullbacks or we don't need extra offensive linemen, whatever it is. I think the Ravens could very well keep 7, but they will have to keep 6. And if you're looking at that 6th wide receiver spot, I'm going to list off some names that are vying for it. James Brochet, Laquon Treadwell, Tylan Wallace, Shamar Bridges, Andy Isabella, Dante Demas. All of those guys are sitting there trying to get the exact spot that the Ravens just brought another wide receiver in to fight for. And not regarding this video, but a lot of people want DeAndre Hopkins to come to Baltimore. That would push that battle to the wide receiver 7 position, which would be insane. That would be by far the best wide receiver core the Ravens have ever had. But, all those names, they all do very different things. If you're looking at Laquon Treadwell and thinking, okay, who is he fighting with? Because really, I don't think it's necessarily down to who's the best. I think it's who's the best for what they need. And, we have good route runners. We have speed, deep threats. What we don't have is that big body. And I think wide receiver 6, or at least we will keep a big body wide receiver. Maybe we keep 7 wide receivers. So I think Laquon Treadwell is fighting for a spot that is available, right? I think it's going to be difficult for James Prochet if there's only 6 wide receivers to make that roster spot, because he doesn't, have that big physical frame where he can run block and he can do all those other things, play special teams as a gunner and all that stuff. He can, but not as well as maybe somebody that's a little bit bigger, a little bit faster. And I think that's the type of mold that Laquon Treadwell fits. And I think he's vying with Shamar Bridges, and he's vying with Dante Demas Jr. And I know Dante Demas Jr. and Shamar Bridges are fan favorites. Shamar Bridges because he, was kind of a stud last offseason, and Dante Demas Jr. obviously coming out of the University of Maryland. But those are the big body wide receivers that the Ravens have on the roster currently. And only one of them has NFL experience. Only one of them has performed at the highest level. And we are going to be able to see who ends up taking that spot, because I would not be surprised if one of those ends up sneaking on the roster. I'm gonna make the assumption, I'm gonna make the claim, I think there will be 7 wide receivers. So we'll say one of them makes it as maybe a wide receiver 7. My prediction would be Laquon Treadwell. I think he will actually be able to make the team, because he does fit the hole that this team doesn't have. And if there's a wide receiver 6 discussion, honestly, I think Laquon Treadwell is probably better than James Prochet. I think Tylan Wallace is a huge question mark, but I do really like his game. And I think, if he's able to stay healthy and now that he has an offensive coordinator that, I hate to say it, but knows what he's doing, I think he very well could have kind of not a breakout year, because it's tough for him to get snaps, but, he could play decent. He could start getting some offensive snaps, not in situations where it's because we have to throw somebody out there, but because, hey, let's give Tylan a shot. Let's do it. Let's go for him. And it's a voluntary thing rather than, oh, this guy just got hurt, I guess we got to throw Tylan out there. Because that's how I feel him and James Prochet have been used in the past, has been, well, someone's got to run this route. But I think now we have players vying for this spot. If we need a deep threat, we have Andy Isabella. If we need a big body, we have Laquon Treadwell. If we need, a route runner, a technician, we have James Prochet. We need some just good athleticism, route running in hands. It's Tylan Wallace right there. There's a lot of potential for these wide receivers, and I really just want to say, I'm wishing the best for all of them. But I want to talk about Laquon Treadwell because I honestly think he has a good chance of making this team, because he's unique. And I would say, obviously I could be wrong. I hope Dante Demas Jr. Proves me wrong. But I would say right now, Laquon Treadwell is the best big body we have on the roster. And maybe Dante Demas comes out, plays in the preseason, dominates, and I'm like, I changed my mind. Could happen. Not saying it won't happen. But as of now, as it stands, I think when the Ravens coaches are looking at it, when the Ravens fans are looking at it, Laquon Treadwell, front runner for the big body wide receiver position if the Ravens do decide to keep it. Let me know in the comment section down below your thoughts on the wide receiver 6, wide receiver 7, who you think is going to make the team. Your thoughts on Laquon Treadwell. I think it's a pretty good signing. You're not using up too much money. You're getting a good, back-end depth chart piece that's played in the NFL with good experience. Thank you all so much for watching. Subscribe for daily Ravens content, and I'll see all of you again tomorrow.